Hey, folks, I hope you are all finding some way to stay warm and hopefully staying inside as much as possible. I was doing some woodworking out in the garage in the shop the other day, uh, just yesterday, I guess, and I was standing there. I had to take my gloves off to work on the router, and every couple of minutes I'd have to take my hands and put them in front of the heater because I'd start losing my fine motor skills in my fingertips. Okay, that's legit cold. I wanted to talk to you real quick here about Unite PA, which is our local group up here in Susquehanna County. This is going out to the coalition as well statewide, and I think that's fine because, as is typical, a lot of the issues that we're dealing with at a local level are not unique to Susquehanna County, right? This is the same kind of stuff that's going on all across the state, and so I think some discussion of the dynamics is important. We had a meeting just last night, actually, of Unite PA, more of a public meeting than we typically have, as the initial step to bringing in a much broader membership in the group and really trying to build a broader capability in Susquehanna County. And the point of that is to begin to identify and run candidates and replace people who are currently holding office, and mostly we're talking about Republicans who, quite frankly, are not making the grade. Um, if you've watched these in the past, you'll know that I talked a lot about a fight we had with the local library association. Actually, a fight we're still having with the library association up here regarding their policies in regard to minors and what we consider to be adult material in the library. And basically, it boils down to this, which is we have stuff, whether it's we have stuff with primarily sexual content that, in our opinion, is inappropriate for minors and 100% should certainly never be handed to minors without the consent of their parents. And yet, the library insists on having a policy which provides an opportunity, if the kid has a card in his or her own name, for them to check out material with a lot of really graphic sexual descriptions and even illustrations. And the library will seriously say that the parents are not allowed to know what the kid is reading. In other words, they will interpose themselves between the parents and the kids. That's the gist. I mean, if you want to boil this down to its essence, this material is age inappropriate. So don't give it to kids, and sure as heck don't give it to kids and not tell the parents. Period. Full stop. That's the whole shtick. We went into this fight with the library. The first round, if you will, had to do with elections to the board to run the library. We made some inroads. I think we got the message out. There are some new folks on the board. We most certainly did not achieve everything that we intended to achieve or hoped to achieve, which is to really, I don't know if take control of the board is the right verbiage, but change the composition of the board to get folks on there who would look at this and say, yeah, you shouldn't be handing age inappropriate material to kids. So, as soon as we began this push, the library and the supporters of the library immediately responded by saying that our intent was to ban books, burn books, prevent the publication of books. In other words, and all sorts of direct allusions to you guys are a bunch of Nazis and you wanted to destroy all this stuff. Now, nobody on our side ever said that. And in fact, I went to great lengths to make crystal clear as many times as I could that that's, I've never said that. Don't believe that. Don't support that. Nobody on our side is saying that. In other words, that's a lie. That's a blatant lie. But the folks supporting the library's policies repeated it over and over and over and over and over anyway. And they succeeded in getting a whole lot of folks to show up to vote in this election who believed those assertions. In other words, a lot of really decent folks showed up and voted to support the library, believing, they're defending, they're defending the United States of America, mom, apple pie, Chevrolet, the whole deal. They're doing the decent thing and they're fighting a bunch of barbarians. They do not understand actually at all what the dispute is about. They have been lied to. They have been misled. That doesn't change the fact that that's what they believe, because that's what has been broadcast to them, and they vote to support a board which in fact is doing something very contrary to what they would want. They're duped, basically. And I don't say that in a pejorative sense like they're stupid or anything. I mean, they've just very effectively been fed a line. So we walk away from this initial round of this fight and do some soul searching and do some thinking, because I think we all know that in life, when you really learn things, it's when things don't go exactly your way. That's, by the way, everybody should understand that wisdom just means, like, I've already tried to do this a whole bunch of other ways and I failed, so that's why I sound like I'm smart now, because I can tell you, having tried every other option, I finally found the right one, so now I can tell you that. And it seems like I'm smart, it just means I've had more time to fail than you have had. So in any event, these are the critical points, right? And we as a group in Unite PA have really thought about this. Okay, what are the lessons learned here? And I think there's a couple of lessons learned at least. And this informs the direction that we're going with Unite PA. The first is this. In this library fight, we went up against a bunch of folks who are very, very organized, very, very efficient, have the support, by the way, of the National American Library Association in all its rhetoric. So basically, you go up against a team that's already on the field, already practiced, knows the plays, knows its lines, and it is ready to rock and roll. And we're going against them with what amounts to a pickup basketball team. We're making this up on the fly and trying to pull people in, trying to get people to focus on the issues, trying to get people to show up for meetings, etc. And that doesn't work, not surprisingly. So first lesson, which I kind of hinted at earlier in this, which is, okay, you can't wait until the fight starts to try to get organized, and we need a lot more people on the field, and we need a lot more organization. So that's the direction we're going with Unite PA, is to build a much bigger structure, have a lot more people involved. The second piece of this, though, is maybe even more painful. Susquehanna County is a dark red county. It's all small towns and farms like much of Pennsylvania. Overwhelmingly Republican, will certainly vote for Donald Trump in huge numbers, assuming he's the nominee. By far, most of the elected officials in Susquehanna County are Republicans. I mean, state rep for the area we're talking about, Republican, state senator, etc. The Library Association gets a whole lot of funding from tax dollars, which means that these elected officials, for instance, the state rep in question, the state senator in question, have a tremendous amount of influence over the Library Association. If you want to keep getting tax dollars, you kind of better listen to me, sort of thing. And yet, throughout this entire fight, while you got parents outraged, parents mobilizing, we're trying to push back on this very blatant, aggressive, very woke agenda. And not a single one of these people gets off the sideline and gets involved. Nobody picks up the phone. Nobody does anything. Nobody asks for a meeting with the head of the Library Association. Even worse, when folks contact these people, what they're given is a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of sympathetic sounding noises, a lot of vague suggestions that, oh, yeah, for sure, I'll take a look at that. In other words, these people in question don't even have the decency to just say, I'm not going to help you to your face. They got to send you away with the illusion that they intend to do something at some future date and then never show up. And a lot of folks locally bought that. And that's not a knock on them. They're decent people who called up their state rep, for instance, and said, hey, I need your help. And thought that they had been promised something and only later realized, yeah, that was a lie. That was a game. You ran a scam on me. You made me think that you were going to help me and you didn't do anything. So the first lesson is out of this fight is you can't play this thing with a pickup basketball team. You got to get organized. You got to bring in more people. We got to build an organization that can actually push the kind of values that Unite PA is about. And the second is we are ill-served by the GOP office holders who will not fight for us, won't do anything for us, smile in your face, glad hand you, slap you on the back, and then move on. And talking to them and continuing to ask them, please, sir, could you find some time to do your job and help me, is a waste of time. They have to be replaced. So that was the message we put out in summation the other night, last night, at the meeting that we had. The next meeting of Unite PA will be sometime in the next couple of weeks. We're identifying the venue, date and time now, and that will go out. And I would really encourage you, if you are tired of this, if you're fed up with this, to show up at that meeting and get involved, because we are past the point of asking or just emailing people or writing letters to people and saying, hey, if you're not too busy, would you bother to do what it is you get paid to do? And we are now to the point of saying, no, look, we're done. You're gone. Now, easy to say, requires a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make it happen, but that doesn't mean it cannot be done. That's where we are. So if you're tired, if you're fed up, if you're sick of asking people to do what they are supposed to do, to stand up, to find a spine, to fight for you, if you're fed up with that, then watch this space. Sometime in the next couple of days, we'll get you a venue and a time. We need people to get involved. We need people to get on the GOP committee. We need people to run for office. We need people to help folks run for office. So in the future, when you're in this kind of situation, you're not talking to a bunch of people who ignore you. You're talking to people who actually fight for you. Okay. Enough for today. Stay warm. I got to go start a fire upstairs in the living room. I think I got the dogs huddled around the radiator here. Talk to you guys soon.